I'd like to think that it happened, I would say, towards end of my matric year, and then obviously it got worse the more I played. So I would say, end of matric, going into Coke Week and that sort of time frame, I would say. Well, it was weird because I've never, I mean, you deal with little aches and pains and stuff like that, but this was it was a constant living in pain, which is a new experience. You know, whether you temp in bowling or just sitting on the couch, or it's just constant pain. So from that, it's difficult. I become cranky when I'm in pain. So I wasn't the greatest person to be around. It just and lower back pain is because you can't just sit, because sitting makes it worse. So it was a case of, then you got to stand, and then don't do that because it's going to hurt your back more. And so from that perspective, it was a new feeling, because you rub it and then it goes away with other pains. But this one, you can't really rub your L5, so you got to just deal with it, I suppose. So I wasn't the greatest person to be around, but I think I got better with it, dealing with it over time. But initially, wasn't too great. It's different, To be honest with you, it was just being picked to play for your country is one of, it's amazing, really. So being picked sort of outweighed the pain, so it was just a case of how to now manage that going through the tournament, and so not bowling for 2 months just to get yourself ready in order to go then and play. So it was more just how to manage that process, so they were like, okay, play this game, maybe rest that one, bowl certain amount of overs, whatever, bat now, so dealing with pain, I suppose I had a little bit of, I'd say, like practice, being able to deal with it, but it just became more about how to manage that process on, okay, well, you can't do X because those people aren't injured and they fully fit, whereas we've got to manage you a little bit differently. So it was good. I actually got to learn a little bit more about my body and how to manage bowling, and so because it just used to be listen, bowl, go, what it's like at school, you bowl here, then you bowl at the Titans, then you bowl at this camp, at that camp. So it almost became now, let me just take a step back and start managing myself a little bit better, which was good. A big learning curve. Well, the big one was when we went for scans, or I went for scans, and they said, listen, you've got a stress fracture. It's the last thing, because when you hear quick bowling, you hear stress fracture, you hear career over. So it was initially very, very tough news, and I can remember just sitting with my parents and thinking, oh my goodness, I think I'm done. It's I don't know. You tend to. I went that way. I was like, oh, stress fracture. And it's like, listen, it's quite bad, and as the doctors do. So I was like, I was a little bit, worried, because I love the game. So and now to achieve where I was going, and now to have this is quite a big block to get over. So initially it was very, very negative. I won't lie to you, it was very, very negative. It was very tough. But then I suppose I just decided that we just to keep going, to take the time, take the rest. And I'm a person that's very, very active and very loud and outgoing, and so for me to take a month off to rest, also grumpiest person ever, you can't do that and you can't do that. So so to just trust that process, that they said, listen, if you take a month off and you go and you do the gym, that you'll be able to, your body will have, you can bowl with it, what I mean? I think that was the big one, was, to hear all the names like Friedel the vet, and, they've bowled and they've had stress fractures and then bowled with them. So there was hope. Initially it was really, really grim, but then I suppose, and that was just my age. I wasn't obviously not as mature as I am now. Not saying I'm the most mature person, but at 19 or 18, hearing that news, it was. So I think maturity also plays a little bit of a part in it. Now we're talking years now, unfortunately. So it took me. I had to take 6 to 8 months off completely. So then once again, very grumpy, because just to sit and then you can't. So.
For somebody who wants to bowl,
somebody
that get out there, like you said,
can't watch cricket. They're like, did you see what happened? No, I don't watch cricket anymore because so anyway, So 6 to 8 months, and that gives you a lot of time to reflect, though, on what you could have maybe done, hindsight, what you could have maybe done better. I suppose what also, I think, lengthened that was we spoke to a lot of different people. So, with this sort of thing, you want to almost put your eggs in one basket, what I mean? You don't want to put a couple here and a couple here, and then, because you can't half do his program, half do that. And so, I went to Dr. John Patricius, and then he said, listen, 6 to 8 months off. And then cortisone injection, and then, and then after those 6 to 8 months, I can actually finally say that I haven't had back pain. Touch wood.
Yeah.
I haven't had back pain. And then it was a slow bowling process. Then after that, you can walk through your action for, say, 6 balls. Twice a week. So then that became a slow he emailed us the process, and then it was like right down at the bottom, one over 50% half runner. Okay. And then highlight that, like, oh my word, can't wait for that, just to run. And so a lot of the time I think I try to speed up the process just because of just because I think that when it comes to this game, I just wanted to get back into it, you know what I mean? I feel better today, so let me just try and bowl a little bit more. And then, luckily I had people around me to say, listen, you stick to that. If he says 5, you do 5. You don't do 6, you don't do 4, you do exactly what he said. Because to be honest with you, I think if after the 6 to 8 months, if I was still sore, or then I don't know, I think I might not be sitting where I am today. I think I could be somewhere different. So it was a hard 6 to 8 months of just sitting, and then another sort of 6 to 8 on going through another rehab program with bowling, but then all worth it, I suppose. Well, there was a lot of frustration, purely because of the time length, you know what I mean? Very excited to get going with the program, and then it's like, after the first month, you almost like, okay, it's time to, people are doing this and I'm still lagging behind a little bit, so it was a lot of frustration. And I had to have a lot of conversations. I had a good support base at home, though, which was nice. It always does help having that base, talking to my dad and my mom, and then my girlfriend at the time. And it's nice to have that. You can share your frustrations with people like that, and they eat, sleep my cricket career, you know what I mean? So I can imagine what they were going through, watching me go through that process. It must have been a little bit hectic, but a lot of it was frustration. And then you almost have to, like I said, I almost started backing that and said, well, you know what, I'm either going to commit to it 100% or I'm wasting everyone's time, or most importantly mine. No, absolutely. That's why that whole time, that taught me such a lot, really, with regards to, we always thinking very, very big, we always very much there. So to now go on a day-to-day basis, I think that's where the frustration crept in. You always thinking you want to just move it on. So to take it every day, I think that's where, obviously, I said the frustration stemmed from. So now it's, every day that I'm in the gym, I'm that day, if I'm in the gym or if I'm hitting cricket balls, a little piece of me is getting better. I think you have to. I think you have to have that. But then it's not just about that. It's now, okay, well, what little goals or steps do I need to be on? And obviously, there's one great path, but sometimes you veer off it a little bit, and how to get back on it. And so who knows? I might get injured. I don't know, tore my hamstring. So back's fine, hamstring starts going, I get shin splints. So
we're not hoping for any of that.
I think the big guy upstairs has got a bit of a sense of humor with regards to me. He's like, Matt, your back's fine now, but now, okay, let's give you shin splints. And so there's always those little challenges that creep up, and bowling is, I'm bound to get, I'm not going to say I'm not going to get injured, I'm bound to get injured. So I definitely have a big goal, absolutely.